villains that they could go into, but they just don't use them correctly, and it's so disappointing for me because I love DC Universe. It's what I grew up on. It's what I love to watch.
Mm-hmm.
I love their cartoons as a child, and I was excited for their movies when they first came out.
Oh yeah,
Superman, Man of Steel was a good movie. It was.
I give it like a 7 out of 10.
Yeah,
solid movie
for it. Yeah. But now you get to these movies where they're just over CGI'd. They're trying to make huge like over the top storylines where they're not relatable.
Right.
And that's the thing. Marvel has relatable characters to everyday people.
Yeah.
Everyday people.
Oh, yeah.
Like you and me, David could even be a superhero if he wasn't so ugly.
I'm the before version of Captain America.
Exactly. We just got to stick him with a bunch of needles. And make us steroids. What do you think, David? Where are you at?
I'm right where you are.
Everybody needs to get out of my house.
I've opened the door, and I'm looking back to see if there's anything that's keeping me staying.
Did they bring the pizza out of the oven?
And then I'm staying for the food.
Right.
I'm already at the place where I didn't see Justice League in theaters. I didn't see Aquaman in theaters. I'm going to wait until Redbox.
Yeah.
And I'll pay $1, rent it, watch it, and I'll return it. If it's any good, they might get me to come back for Shazam, but that's the thing. They have to get a track record of, if I'm going to pay $10 to go to a movie theater to see a movie, that's going to be a good movie. I don't go to the movie theaters that often during the year.
We go see Marvel. That's about it.
And that's because Marvel has a track record of 10 years where even if it's not a good movie, it's an enjoyable movie.
Yeah.
And I know I'm going to go there for 2 or 3 hours, and I'm gonna laugh. I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna with Avengers, I might cry.
Eve was not a fan of Aquaman. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
I just think that DC has to earn back its fan base, and they have to do that with consistent movies. I think it struggles with the same thing like Marvel, Netflix has struggled with, just with a lot of mediocrity. Eventually, people aren't looking forward to your next movie.
Yep.
And with Netflix, your shows, eventually people weren't looking forward to the next one with all the mediocrity in the middle.
I preferably am okay with them rebooting everything from the very beginning. Not necessarily for Wonder Woman. That was a great casting choice. It was a good. It was
Gal Gadot.
It was a solid movie. Gal Gadot.
Gadot.
Gadot. Aquaman and Jason Momoa. Jason Momoa he's a great choice for New 52 Aquaman.
Yes.
And not necessarily old, ratty, skinny Barnacle Boy and Mermaid Man.
No, I'd pay to see that movie.
Yeah.
SpongeBob SquarePants makes that movie. I know where I'll be that weekend.
Are you a SpongeBob fan? Phil?
Well, Phil has died. No, he's back. He's still alive.
No.
What episode of the podcast is that? If you know it, and let us know. Tell us where we can find your podcasts so that we can all listen.
Yeah, plug yourself.
So it's episode 42 called Al and Phil Guided by Green Lantern's Light.
Okay.
I have a lot of fun naming my podcasts.
Nice.
I've been doing that recently.
Right.
You can find on iTunes, on Stitcher, on Spotify, on Google Play, Google Podcasts. You can find us on pretty much everything. Just search The Feel Better Show. You'll feel better by searching it.
There you go.
What else? And we got YouTube coming up. We're going to slowly start doing that and changing up the format, how you see us visually on the YouTubes, and going to try and increase the social media game because a little weak on that.
So are we, and so are we at times. We feel that.
Yeah, definitely.
That's pretty much that's where you can find us. I would suggest you start if you want to hear. We do have a couple episodes on the DC universe. I do have a good friend of mine who takes over my podcast. He was a guest, but he ends up taking it over, and he starts talking about Batman versus Superman. And he actually changed my mind on how well the movie actually is.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
So I think that is probably like episode 40, or it's close to the Green Lantern episode. And it's just Jacobs takes over the Phil Better Show.
Awesome.
As you listen to him, he's a very big, passionate DC fan guy. And so,
all right, so we do for Phil. I'm sorry. real quick, we're gonna ask you some Canadian questions, and if you feel like you should answer these truthfully, definitely go ahead. Have you ever dipped yourself in maple syrup?
Yes.
I was not expecting that. Have you ever laid the maple syrup out in the snow and rolled it up on a stick and ate it?
Well, that's a traditional thing at a cabana soup, which is a sugar shack.
I like it. Anything called a sugar shack, I'm in.
I'm in.
Where do I sign up?
That's called my heart right now. It's a sugar shack.
My arteries.
That's a good Canadian tradition. You go up to the sugar shack, you get all these comfort foods. You get like deep fried pig ears.
Deep fried what?
Pig ears?
Pig ears.
Oh, I'm not on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of pig ears.
It's not actual pig ears. That's the literal translation from French to English. It's like fat. It's just deep fried fat.
I'm in again.
I beat that once.
This tasty fat we've got. Deep fried.
Yeah, have you ever deep fried that?
It doesn't clog your arteries enough. You need to feel like your heart's gonna stop.
Have you ever made a statue out of either John Candy or Ryan Reynolds?
Have I made a statue of or?
Yeah, of, not
Yes,
out of.
Yes, of.
That would be disturbing.
Come here, Ryan.
Well, I try to make snowmen as much as possible. So there's John Candy-esque.
So, Candy.
What is the temperature right now? Now.
You might have to ask again.
You want Fahrenheit or Celsius?
Fahrenheit. I'm sorry, I don't know Celsius.
Yeah.
I know 0 is the freezing point of water.
No, but is that Fahrenheit or Celsius again?
Well, technically both, I guess, but because water is going to freeze at 0 degrees Fahrenheit. What is the temperature up there in Fahrenheit right now?
So in Celsius it's -14, and in Fahrenheit it's 6 degrees.
That's terrible.
Mm.
That's about what it is here, actually.
Yeah.
We just had our cold snap. Did you get? How often does it snow there? And do you actually like the snow, or do you just live with it because you're a Canadian?
So this winter has been kind of bad. We just got hit over the weekend with a massive, literally, we got maybe a couple inches of snow, which for this late in our winter is kind of weird. Usually we've already had our snowstorm. We nearly had a green Christmas, which is really rare for us.
Okay.
We can get up to, I know one Christmas, I'm 5'8", and the snow pretty much was nearly as tall as me in certain places. But it all depends on which part of the country you're in.
Right.
Because right now, out in Alberta, they have something called the Chinook, which is warm winds coming in from the Rockies, which warm up and you're not as cold. Whereas here on the East Coast, you need to wear long johns.
Yeah, you get all the lake weather.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting it off to St. Lawrence. I lived in one of our one of our Atlantic provinces called Prince Edward Island.
Yeah.
And I remember one Christmas or one winter, the front of the house was just like, it was from the roof to the floor, it was snow, but our backyard was green. Just from the Atlantic blowing in the snow.
Right.
So different provinces get different winters. If you're in Saskatchewan, which is pretty much just a flat plain where you can watch your dog run away for days. I swear, there's no mountainous regions. It's all farm.
That's the best analogy ever.
Have you named him after the most famous Canadian of all, Justin Bieber?
I hate you.
We do too, Phil. We do too.
My last question for you, Phil. Just how racist are we actually being right now?
Not at all. I've had. I actually went to Florida when I was really young, and there was the typical Texan with the big cowboy hat, the big belt buckle.
I pictured that.
Bigger belly, and he's like, "Oh, where are you guys from?" We're like, "Oh, we're from Canada." He's like, "Oh, why aren't you wearing furs?" And because me and my sister our kind of smart butts, we started just digging a hole that he would just drown in of sarcasm and stupidity. We told him, oh yeah, we had to, when we crossed the border, they wouldn't let us. We peppered the boots and A's all up in there. And we're like, oh yeah, we had to change into these things that you guys call clothes. They wouldn't let us wear our pelts.
Yes!
That's great.
Our maple syrup for this money, you call it, paper money. And you were in igloos, and that I would like to tell all your American listeners, we do not live in igloos. We all know how to make an igloo. We just don't live in igloos.
Apparently, you all live in sugar shacks.
Yes.
That's where I want to
We all
go.
live in sugar shacks. And our arteries are always clogged with Smarties and maple syrup.
There you
Oh,
go.
that sounds great.
Phil, thank you for joining us tonight. It was great having you on. We're going to have you on again because I think we all enjoyed it. I
Yeah.
hope our listeners did. And that last story you just told is the best thing you've said all night. I
That's
love
true.
that.
That's true. That was perfect.
So thanks for joining us. Again, you can hear him, The Phil Better Show, on Spotify, on iTunes. He's going to be on YouTube, all kinds of places. He talks movies. He talks nerdy stuff. He's great. He commented on this and said, who's that sexy voice with Phil Better? You know what? That's the best voice that's ever been on this
That's
podcast,
true.
is his voice
That's
right
actually
there.
true.
So,
You guys are too kind. You're too kind.
thanks for joining us.
No one's
You're
ever
great.
complained about that before.
That's true. But if you guys have ever seen a picture of him, you would want to listen to his voice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you, sir. We'll have you on again. And stay warm up there as we try to stay warm down here. And if you ever want to come, however long it takes to get here, and pie me in the face
And eat cookies.
and eat cookies, I will 100% allow it.
Yeah, that's true.
I accept, and I will figure out how long it will take me to get over to you guys.
Scranton, Pennsylvania. That'll get you close enough.
That's true.
Scranton, Pennsylvania. Home of the office.
And
Not
bring
really,
pizza.
and bring pizza. Thank you, Phil.
Have a good night, you guys.
You too. Thank
Thanks,
you.
buddy.
Bye.
Bye-bye. That was Phil Better. That was really awesome.
Yeah.
Those are some great
We
stories.
should make him regular, like
That'd
once
be
a
great.
month or whatever. If we could do that.
That was great.
That
See,
was
I can find a good guest every once in a while.
Every once in a
Yeah.
while. We've had two guests.
Yeah, we've had two guests, and he was by far the funniest.
He was great. We'll have him back. Do we want to do our second topic now, or do we want to save it? What do we want to do? We've been live for 46 minutes.
Yeah.
We want to do it?
Yeah, let's get into it real
Right.
quick.
So I posted. I was watching a video. Mr. Sunday Movies, who we actually mentioned earlier in the podcast, not a sponsor, but I like listening to his videos and his podcast, The Weekly Planet and such. And he and his buddy broke down the USA Today's. That's the publication that released this. Top 10 most anticipated movies for 2019. The first 5 were all Disney. They'd had 5 straight Disney. Number 6 was something else. And then in the end, 8 out of 10 were Disney properties of some kind. You had MCU in there. You had Star Wars in there. You had their live action, quote, live action remakes and stuff like that. So you had a gambit of their movies,
Oh, sure.
but still Disney-owned properties. And I got to thinking, and we posted this poll, and I'll bring it up now so we can actually look at the actual results of it. And I thought it would make a good topic for us to talk about. Is Disney too big? Do they own too much? When 8 out of the top 10 movies.
Can I actually comment about this?
Yeah.
Before David does.
Well, hang on. Our pollers. You had 2 options.
Sure.
Our pollers, 17 out of 17 votes said no, they make good movies. Why complain?
Mm-hmm.
And 14 voted yes, Disney is stifling creativity in cinema. And we have some great comments from people on that poll that I want to read. And if you want to comment on that, comment below on this video. But yeah, Tony, go ahead. What do you have to say?
Well, number one, is it stifling creativity in cinema? The answer really is no.
Mm.
I mean, they've already come out with so many great movies. They've come out with great family shows. They've come out with great cinematic masterpieces, great cinematic masterpieces, to be honest. And now that they're at the point